jump in, it's the first episode of Hope Unfiltered. I am Renata Singh, but you can call me Ren. And we want you guys to feel very welcome here. It's a safe space. We're going to be talking things about life, maybe touch on some topics that may be a little controversial, possibly a little taboo. You're going to have to stay tuned to see more, right? But you're definitely welcome here. Now, we have a guest on this set, but before we get to that, we have somebody that I want to introduce, Pastor J.
Hey, Ren, thanks for having me. But guys, I'm so happy that we're here to have these conversations. Like you said, the word I love, safe space. You know, as a pastor, I have lots of conversations where people kind of struggle to probably open up about these things. They even ask why the church not talking about some of this. So I love it. Looking forward to this conversation.
Now, we are not alone.
I know.
We have a special guest who will be sharing a little bit later in terms of his experience in the world of Carnival. I know we hitting them hard. The first episode.
Starting off rough, man.
Hot. Jason, it's such a pleasure to have you on set with us today.
Such a pleasure being here. I'm so excited just to be here and can't wait.
And to share, right? I can't wait to see how this conversation unfolds and the wealth of knowledge that will definitely be shared here
Most
today.
definitely.
But before we hit the hard things, right? We want to do a little icebreaker to kind of lighten the mood, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do it too, right? But I'm gonna say what the icebreakers that we're gonna be doing.
Right.
So think about this: you are on a deserted island, or you have to go to a deserted island, and you have to carry 3 items with you. You have to say what those 3 items are.
Hey.
And why you chose those 3 items. You have to give a reason for it. Now, I have no idea what I'm going to say for this. So, I don't know who want to start first.
I just want to say from the get-go, being the pastor, I think one of my answers have to be the Bible.
Mine's too.
I don't know.
For sure.
I need to be by the altar Sunday morning.
Sunday, right? 'Cause you was
thinking.
Oh, man, that's a tough one, though. I mean, I might lose points, so I might have said, I hope I could take my wife with me.
You know, that's a very good.
You didn't even think about it, hey, poor Josh.
I need some real heavy prayers here. So,
For real.
so your Bible, the toilet should do the same thing.
I joking with the Bible one. I mean,
Oh wait, that's not that. So you're
it
taking
is for
out.
survival, right? Well, hopefully as a pastor, you know, hopefully I have plenty of the Bible in me.
Okay, so is the Bible, or that's not your first one? Your first one is your wife?
You had to be more, yeah.
So, all right, number 1, your
I
wife.
ain't gonna be able to go back home and she's
Okay.
They say, well, I guess with somebody, if it's not people, like, let me make it simple, not people then, right? Mm-hmm. Some kind of survival kit, girl. I mean, I'm a typical man. I feel like I watch enough survival documentaries, but I know myself good enough. I need some help out there.
Okay, cool.
A survival kit to start.
Survival kit.
Yeah.
So what does that look like? Like a first aid kit?
Like it'll have
What's a
stuff like
survival
that,
kit?
like knife and like maybe some twine, like hook and
Wait, boy. My girly ways real showing here.
you know, to survive, yes.
Yeah,
What you choose?
What I would choose? I didn't even know, you know. I looked at this movie recently. It's called The Society of the Snow. Society of the Snow. I hope I got that correct. It was about this aircraft that crashed into the Andes Mountains. So it was, I think I would definitely be taking a coat or like a blanket.
A blanket?
With me. Yeah.
Supposing it's a hot place.
No, it's a hot place,
So I didn't say if it's a hot place or a cold place, but at some point in time, nightfall.
You need a blanket.
Yeah. So I carry my blanket because I watch a movie and I'm not playing.
Jason, what you saying with?
Well, for sure, I carry a guitar.
For sure. You gotta keep your sanity somehow.
Yeah. For sure, I carry a guitar.
Yeah, for real.
I don't know what else.
Blanket. You can't carry a phone.
How your phone go last, girl?
Maybe a little battery pack that is charged with the sun rays.
Well, then if you're talking about maybe like a solar panel, something.
Solar panel thing, yeah.
You can have electricity, alright?
I wasn't even thinking about electricity. I just want my little power pack for my phone to charge.
A solar panel charging thing for electricity and light or whatever.
Yeah, so we get electricity.
Where you get lights from?
Solar.
Solar.
So the panel has like
to produce some kind of power, we will need, yeah.
We'll figure it out.
We will figure it out.
Okay, cool. All right, so I have two things.
So probably
there.
the solar panel and the phone. The phone has
Solar
light on
panel.
it.
So that's two things.
And two things right there.
And her blanket.
And a blanket, you must feel cool. You have to listen.
Mind you, she go die from starvation, but she go be comfortable.
Yeah,
I'm
she got your
sure.
phone and
Listen,
thing.
when I heard, like, I was thinking like a deserted island that
Right.
may possibly have coconuts. I watch way too much TV.
Yeah, and how you opening the coconuts?
We'll figure it out.
All right.
You must have rocks and thing. I know. We'll figure it out.
All right,
I don't know.
We'll see what the viewers say is probably the best items. How about that? We ask them
Yeah.
to drop in the comments. Was there top survival
Yeah.
items?
Good idea.
Yeah.
All right, so we are going to dig deep into this specific topic. Very heavy. We're going to be talking about Christianity and
Drum roll, yeah.
drum roll and Carnival. Now, like I mentioned, we have a guest, Jason, and now he has come from that background many years ago.
Yeah.
He is a Christian now, so he has definitely a different view on how that
How the festival-
life
Yeah,
looks
yeah.
and the festivities. Very unique
Definitely, yeah.
because unlike myself and Pastor J, who may not necessarily have like experience in that area, it's going to be really
Yeah.
interesting to
Yeah.
hear from.
I'm excited to hear from you your experience, your
Yeah.
stories, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it will help lots of people out there who navigate
Yeah.
in the season especially.
Yes, definitely. I mean, historically, I'm not sure how much we could bounce off each other because there's not a history class, right? There's not a history class. But historically, like, Carnival has evolved from what it was
Yeah.
long ago, back in the day before I was born. And any one of us here was born, yeah. From my knowledge, I think it came from, it had French roots at first, and it was more of like a celebratory kind of festival, and then it went into the whole aspect with slavery and
Yeah.
all that good stuff, and it literally evolved over time into, well, what we
What
knew
it
it
is now?
to be here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Do
true,
you
yeah.
guys think like it has lost some of the original meaning in terms of like how it was back then to how it is now?
Yeah, definitely, because Carnival started off with something called the Cambule riots. And then there were things like Tambu Bamboo, that's where that music started off from.
Right.
And then, of course, stick fighting. And those things were like, it was like a sight to see.
Yes.
And then it was like art,
Yes.
like really nice art and stuff, you know. And I guess with everything else, as things evolve, there's an industry behind it. And with industry, there will always be greed and desires and selfish desires and things. And I think over time, definitely the integrity with the art form has been lost, you know, because of that. Yeah, so I was basically around for most of those events, so I would know
Right.
what, as I mentioned, you know, the greed and everybody want to make money for themselves.
That's the thing. I remember
Yeah.
it. I remember it in school when you were learning about it. The meaning behind it, really.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it really reflected our culture. You know, who we
Yeah.
are as
Yeah.
Trinidadians.
Yeah.
I think it has affected all of us, but somehow you don't get that in any sense
No,
today. Like, there's nothing time back. Like, even I look at my daughter who's going through primary school, they might have touched on it, but not like how the way we did. We used to have to actually learn these characters.
Yeah, Peregrine,
Right,
Yes.
draw them out, color,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and they like just kind of skimming through it, you know. So I feel like a lot of it is lost, you know. Even though I mean I might not have been in that world, like the appreciation I had for it,
Yeah.
I don't see that or I don't hear that as
Yeah.
much.
That is
if
the
at all.
cultural aspect,
yeah.
Aspect of it, yeah.
and
Yeah.
I mean, if you talk to most Trinidadians,
Right.
when they think about Trinidad, or if they have to speak on the country, the first thing they speak about is Carnival.
Yeah, well, we're known for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're known for that.
I know, strangely enough, I actually got involved in music because of Best Village. I don't know if you all know what that is, right?
Oh wow, yeah, I do.
Best Village is like,
Let us know. Yeah.
right, so Best Village is like different villages or areas, right? they bring out their talent. So like especially folk dancing, folk singing,
Drama, yeah.
little skits and stuff. So I actually was a product of Best Village.
Oh, wow. I never knew that.
Yeah.
So that's where you start.
That's where I
that
started
journey.
off. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Started off, and I started off playing African drums, and I was really good at it, and I actually represented the country a year for our World Drummers Conference, playing drums. So I understood the culture in terms of the tambu bamboo and all the songs and what they mean. It was like a cry out.
Yeah.
For freedom and for justice.
So that's amazing. So you didn't just start from the entertainment side.
No.
You started from the grassroots,
yeah.
really.
Culture, yeah.
That's awesome.
I used to dance Best Village and thing,
Yeah, maybe might get to do some moves.
Yeah, and I mean, from secondary school days, one of the things that I would have taken away from Best Village is the cultural richness that it held. Like
the costumes
yeah.
and the dancing and the singing.
Sets.
And the sets and all too. Yeah.
Like it screamed the Trini.
Yeah.
In reading, one of the things that I noted is that, and I found really interesting, and I think it's what makes our culture so beautiful, is that it's the culmination of so many different cultures.
Yes.
So we have the French, the Spanish, the African, and
East
and it East Indian, and it's just come together to make something that's just unique. Because it's no longer French, it's no longer Spanish, it's no longer just African, but it comes together to make
Trinidad
and Tobago what it is.
Yeah.
One of the things I would say about that, though, even in the current carnival culture, you do see all types of people coming together.
Of course.
It brings people together. I mean, that's just one of the one of the good parts. Like just touching on what you're saying there. You still see that in many regards.
But then
is what
the intention behind.
I know. It's very commercialized. You touch on that. I guess we will go into that later on deeper. But definitely.
Interesting, man.
Definitely. I mean, we certainly touched on the whole aspect of it being an artistic expression and a form of cultural expression. So, Jason, you would have traveled the world. Traveled the world. Playing in various soca bands with some of the big names. Tell us what that part of your life was like.
Well, at a young age, I was like in my very early 20s. Our goal, well, when I say our, it was a group of friends, we wanted to make it, whatever that was, right? And the experience, I didn't grow up in church or anything, so I didn't feel any kind of conviction.
Yeah.
So things like smoking, drinking, cussing, normal. That's normal things. That's just part of the culture, right? And then we were young guys, just having lots of fun with no rules.
Right.
Yeah, no rules at all. So, for us, it was enjoy the ride. Just enjoy the ride, So we didn't even know which part we was at that time because we was always in our hotel. And all the hotels always the same. They look the same.
Right.
So we don't know if we're in Washington or Atlanta or it was just in there for the ride.
But what exactly you was doing while you was touring there?
Guitar,
right? Yeah, just want everyone to know.
Guitar. Yeah, so been playing guitar out there and being out there, I was exposed to the other artists as well. Because whenever we're traveling, we are traveling with all of the big names. So if you're moving with, I could call names. We move with Iowa, we'll meet Rupi on the way from Barbados.
Right.
We meet Alison Hines on the way because we're all in the same show. Right? And that is where we get to make relationships. We get to meet people. We stay in the same hotel, stay in the same tour bus,
Yeah.
And one thing for me that it really helped me out is relationships. In school, I was just very quiet.
Yeah.
Because being out there,
Right.
I learned to develop relationships with people.
Right.
Hang out with, some of the artists, And that literally made the band itself a stronger band because we get closer, we spend time together.
Right.
But I have so much stories, but we had a kind of
Keep
zoning.
it.
Yeah, we had kind of zoning on certain things, you know.
What was your best carnival?
Since you've been to
Yeah.
so many countries, so many events, what was the best one you come across?
Wow. When I saw that question, I was like, all of it was so amazing, you know.
I can't believe you didn't just say Trinidad.
I would know
That's like mind blowing to me.
because what happened? Because Trinidad culture is carnival.
Yeah.
All the focus would be
Okay.
on a lot
All
of
right,
more
so
detail.
Trinidad is a given.
So Trinidad is a given.
Yeah, you're right.
Trinidad not on the table
Chin
then.
to the bone, boy.
Of course, Trinidad, of course. You know, but I've been places, especially like
What a place is wow you then.
right. For instance, Texas.
Really?
Texas, right? The first year I went to Texas Carnival, I was like,
Texas what? Texas Carnival?
yeah. I was like, what?
They had like cowboys.
I'm trying to picture this.
But when I say Texas, right, what's happened? There's a lot of Caribbean people
Right.
all over
Right.
states,
were,
right?
yeah.
Oh,
All
so
over the
all of
world.
them would...
They
come
would
together.
come
Right,
together.
right.
And, you know, because Texas may be a little bit more nature, a more nature space,
Yeah.
a little bit more safe, you know.
Yeah.
People will come and then it's just free up. Yeah, that like Juve and all them kind of things.
Serious?
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
that is so interesting.
I would have
can't believe
never
that.
guessed that
I know,
place.
right? No, but as you said Texas, I immediately saw people in boots
I
and...
know. Places like-
And what's happened, most of those carnivals, or well, all of them, is mainly Caribbean people who migrated
yeah.
and they will just
Yeah.
make sure and be there.
And participate.
Yeah, and they might invite some of their friends
Right.
around and thing, you know? But the experience, I think, it really shaped me who I is today and why I see things the way how I see things now because of the gospel of Jesus. That is why I see things differently.
This is it, yeah.
Yeah. You know, so...
So what you'd say, like, just one more gather from you, looking at you at that stage in your life, no kind of church upbringing, no kind of consciousness of anything with that. It was just the path that was in front of you.
Yeah.
Wanted to have fun. So for a young person, probably living that right now, that's probably what they're looking at then.
I know, yeah. I know,
That's what
I
they
know
go-
exactly what they're going through.
Right? They seeing the benefits and
Yeah.
like, but you spoke about positive things, you know,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
networking,
Yeah.
building relationships. You know, you talk about how you were in school to know how you developed and stuff.
Yeah.
So still some positive things you're taking,
Of
like
course,
you said,
yeah,
you take from there.
Yeah.
But all right.
Yeah.
Do you think, I mean, apart from music as the central focus, I mean, you would have spent a lot of time, like you mentioned, with these people, building relationships. Do you think those relationships played a role in terms of your lifestyle choices at that particular time?
Definitely. Yeah. You see, because living the life of an artist out there, the goal is different. The goal
What does
is
that look like? Give us a little,
Yeah,
a little
you're kind of
inside
touching on
scoop
it.
now.
the goal is right. For instance, we was always linemen
Okay.
all
Wow.
the time. There
So it's always a high?
Always. There was no like real serious times.
Serious, okay.
Yeah, it was always
So it's an
high.
ongoing party.
ongoing party. And
Describe a typical day in the life of an artist. So you wake up in the morning. How that day
Alright,
looking
so
like?
the first thing is you wake up in the morning, right? The first thing is to drink a beer.
Wait.
Because we get so accustomed drinking.
Yeah.
Right.
Drinking is a normal thing. So that's like we're just drinking, right? And of course, if you have like rehearsals or something, we just go to the rehearsals. And because the set was the same set in every island or wherever,
Right.
we really have to practice hard.
Yeah.
We just run through the songs easy and just go by the bar.
You're doing it so many times.
So many
you-
times, you
yeah.
know. And of course, traveling. So traveling was a lime. If we have to travel, if next day, the day before, we pack the suitcase already and we out by bars lineman.
Right.
And from the bar, hit the airport. And reach the airport, drinking.
This is like a constant carnival.
Yeah, drinking, playing cards, reaching the place, reaching the hotel, find the bar. Yeah, find the bar.
Wow.
And just drinking and just going on the gig.
That was just
find the
normal
bar.
then.
It was normal.
That was just
yeah,
normal.
yeah. It was a normal thing. And that was every day.
Wow.
That was every day.
Question. Now, I watch real TV, right? Well, not real TV, but enough.
You don't
And
sell yourself
sometimes-
out.
Yeah.
I watch enough TV. I know you would see things on TV that suggest that sometimes for people to do certain things, they would make certain lifestyle choices. And by that I mean they may indulge in alcohol, drugs, and stuff like that to be able to execute whatever. If it's playing an instrument, singing, whatever.
Yeah.
Do you think that contributed to that particular aspect of, or it was just a matter of that's what
Well,
that was the code?
It was just part of the environment.
Okay.
It wasn't like we had to.
It wasn't
Okay.
part of you as a musician needing anything like that.
No,
Right.
not at all. You know,
Okay.
it was just we were just there, and we are accustomed drinking, so it was just normal.
Just something to.
it was like we
to do.
had to.
But I mean, you describing that, for some people that sounds appealing,
Yeah.
For some people, like you said, without the knowledge, like we talking Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if you do have that exposure,
Yeah.
that sounds like, hey, that's a fun
It is.
lifestyle.
It is, and it is a very fun lifestyle. Yeah,
Wow.
it is. Yeah.
No, it's
There's
good to
no
hear
doubt
you
about
say it straight
No,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But is it worth it?
Not at all.
And that probably
Not at all.
somebody watching us talking will be like, you just
Say
talk
it's
about like my
yeah.
ideal. I just look forward to 2-3 days of this for the year, and you telling me you live like this every single day, and then it's fun, but it's not worth
It's
it.
not weird. Like, you had to give us a little more to that part now.
Well, you see, to go back a little bit, right? I didn't grow up with a father. Right? I always wanted to become a father.
Right.
So I always wanted to become like a void I had in my life.
Yeah.
So I started seeing myself out there with different girlfriends all over the place.
Right.
Somebody in Grenada, somebody in Barbados, somebody in St. Lucia, somebody in Miami, somebody in Washington, somebody there, somebody there. And I was like, if I have to have a child or something, what happened to this child? They wouldn't know who I is. I wouldn't get to have I wouldn't get to be with this child.
Yeah.
So that was my first thing, right? I wanted to have a family while I was out there. So even though the fun was there, I was empty.
Yeah.
There was a void.
Right.
I didn't grow up in a real functional family, so I would have missed a lot of love.
Right.
You know,
And you wanted to provide that.
I wanted to
no?
provide that. So I think what happened to me is that I started to see things differently after a couple of years, and because I wanted that, I started to lean towards the more positive side of Carnival. So I would go and link up with the positive guys. So I was around the Rapso community.
Okay.
I actually wanted to be there, and that's where I met a couple artists now, like Maximus Dan, and a couple other people there. And I was searching. And it's something that I think that we all as people, we search for one thing, and that's love.
Right.
And I found love. And the funny thing is that I was playing music, I was still traveling, still touring, and because I was involved in a little conscious thing, I met the black mans. Because they were involved in some of the conscious stuff.
Aspect,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
As Christians, they were still playing in some of the rap soul stuff.
Right.
Okay.
So I was playing for a rap soul artist, and then she brought the Love Circle to come and do some songs. So that's how I met Marge and Isaac and Sheldon, and I was like, oh, hey boy, I was here about these people.
Right,
And now I get to meet them, and they take my number. And
if you're from the world of soca, they are.
Yeah. That's foundation.
Yeah, foundation.
Can't deny it, yeah. That's foundation. But one thing I want to say about that there is that if it wasn't for the black mans, I don't think I would have gotten the opportunity to hear the gospel. Because I would not go into a church.
Right.
Yeah, I would not go into a church. And, even being out there, a lot of people have a really bad image of the church, And because of how they were so receptive, they was like, hey, you could real play and thing. And I felt at home. There were times, there were some disputes among the family. Hey, this man playing in Mass Camp Pub, and he come back and
Right.
Because I used to live with them too, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, he just, you know, he playing there and then, you know, he come back here, we had to go and minister here, but he go and he playing here. What's going on? And
So you're still outside,
I was
but,
still outside.
but they embraced you.
yeah, I didn't make a decision to follow
Right,
Christ as
right.
Right.
you know?
But they were just loving on you.
It was, exactly. That was all.
It's funny, the gap that he was looking for,
I found
somebody
it.
was
Somebody
giving
was
it to
giving
you.
it. And Isaac, I remember hearing Isaac saying, leave him alone. Leave him alone. Isaac back was saying, leave him alone. And I didn't know what he mean by that, you know?
Yeah.
And then on my own, I just reached out to him and I was like, what does it mean to get baptized? Where's baptism? You know, like, what's that about? And then he started explaining to me, and then, you know, he make me talk to Luke Kwamina, which was our pastor, and I started to talk with him and just reason out with life, and, you know.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I want to do. I want to live this life. You know? So it is a transformation that I think only God could do it from the inside.
Yeah.
But on the outside, we have to want it. In terms of our human self, we have to want something out of life. You know? But Christ work on the inside.
Yeah.
You know?
That's so interesting, though. That point you made there, they gave you the grace and the space. They didn't put a time frame in terms of you need to get your act together right now,
it was
Jesus.
never like that.
And I think that's such a takeaway for me.
Right.
You know, like that's real powerful.
But they didn't hold him to the standard that they
Yeah.
lived by.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't there yet.
I wasn't exactly.
He wasn't there yet.
Yeah, I
And
wasn't
that's
there
the thing.
yet,
And they gave you the grace for that.
Yeah.
Which I think is really powerful. And like
Yeah.
you said, I think that's something we could all kind of lean into.
Yeah.
I think that was real beautiful. But I guess I'm coming back to this because I found this real intriguing in what you said. Before you even started to explore, search for Christ, there was something in you that you needed.
Yeah.
That you were searching for even before anybody brought gospel or anything.
Yeah.
And I just found, and you know, I'm sure you're looking back, you can see that's God's hand moving in your life. But it's good to see because for somebody out there, they might be looking or they live in this lifestyle and will thinking, and the truth is they may not need Christ in this moment, but there's something that they're searching for, but they don't know Christ has the answer for that as well.
Yeah.
So I think that was real great.
They just don't know us yet. And I think that is why I have this way that I think, right? I think in a very non-judgmental way when it comes to secular.
Okay.
Yeah, non-judgmental, which means that people who's out there doing worldly things, I totally embrace them.
Expect the world to act like the world.
Yeah.
Wow,
Totally
yeah.
embrace
Right.
them,
Yeah.
without any kind of like, hey, you know, that's wrong. You know, I embrace them and I believe in that that really genuine love for them.
Yeah.
Right.
That they understand that here what
So I have to ask this question. So I hear your view with the people in the world, right? And I 100% believe that. I always tell people, if the world acting like the world, that's what they're supposed to do.
of course, yeah.
So let me ask you the question.
Yeah. I know
So
you're gonna ask.
you know that.
Yeah.
So what's your view with the
Yeah.
Christians
Yeah.
living and looking like the world? Then?
Of course, yeah. So the thing about that is because Christianity is a relational religion in terms of it is relational, I think church culture in terms of the format of how church is like come to church and that means he's a Christian. Once you're in church, he's a Christian. Right?
We do agree with that, but
We don't agree with that at all, right? So Christianity, it is a relationship. And I think because we look up to the world so much as a standard of excellence,
Yeah.
Okay.
we get kind of sidetracked. It's like, oh, if they could do it like that, we could do it like that too.
Yeah.
You know? And then what happens too is that a lot of Christian musicians and artists rebel against some things, and also their desire sometimes is be for the world,
Yeah.
sometimes it's their natural desire. They go up in
Right.
church, but it's like they don't want to be there. They really want to be out there.
But why do you, I mean, this may be a little off, but why you think that is? Is it a matter of lack of excellence, or is it like a money thing?
in church?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
what
wow.
that's what I mean. It's a matter of the musicians. That is,
You want to hit hard.
they don't like.
To be honest,
they
in my-
desire more in that way.
No,
How-
to be honest, I would say no.
what do you think is
No,
the
because, for, like, I think the view on the worldly music industry is like, if that is the standard, if I have to be good.
yeah?
So is it like a validation then?
Yeah. That's
So-
it.
And it should be the opposite way. Like
it's-
the
exactly,
world,
yeah,
I
yeah.
believe this. The world should be looking to the church for
Yeah,
the standard in terms of
definitely.
everything,
Everything, yeah.
music, whatever
Yeah.
it is. We
Yeah.
should be the ones setting the
Yeah.
standard, not the other way
Yeah.
around.
So, I think also what contributed is that church culture would have been evolving.
Okay.
Church culture itself. You know, when I came into church, I was expecting people in just shirt and tie and a guitar strumming.
Yeah.
But what I saw was
Something different.
everything else: keyboard, drums, Ableton.
Right.
I'm gonna pretend I know
saw a
what that is.
standard. I saw a very high standard. Not,
Yeah, wow.
not all over the place,
Yeah.
but I saw a standard, and I saw churches reaching out for that standard.
Yeah.
Most churches I know, they're
Right.
reaching out for a better standard. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I want to
Yeah.
upgrade my worship team.
Right.
Yes.
Most churches do that. So I don't believe that the standard, the church, that church musicians should really go out in terms of looking for a standard out there
Yeah.
when they could make it happen.
Inside
Inside
the
the
church.
church, yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe help lift the standard.
Lift
If
the
they
standard,
see
yeah,
like there is
yeah.
a void or, an area for improvement, try to,
Well, I think he hit it on the second part of it.
Yeah.
He said their heart really on the outside.
Yeah.
There's that. It probably is disguised as something else.
Yeah.
But and I think that would be probably part of when we started this conversation, or when we were thinking about it. There's so many Christians out there who struggle still with Carnival.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they disappear during the season
Yeah.
and then come back.
They come back. Yeah.
And you,
That's-
I guess that's what you're touching on. That
Yeah,
there is
yeah.
something in their heart
There's
that
something
still
inside, yeah.
desires.
And for me, right?
Yeah.
What I would advise in that case is that desires is something that we have to ask a very important question. If it is healthy, if it will help us along the way, or if it will bring us to our end. And that's why I said, out in the world is fun, but the Bible said sin is pleasurable but for a season. And
Y'all should be
After
taking
sin-
notes at this
after
point.
sin
This
is-
man. this,
the Bible
I'm
says the
taking
wages of
notes.
sin is dead.
Yeah.
right.
It is pleasurable. Even now, I think we all have free will.
Yeah.
Any one of us here, we have free will.
Yeah.
We could choose to do whatever we want to do and say, as a Christian still, and I
Yeah.
could still drink a beer. I could still drink. I could still be a Christian.
I could still go to a
I could still
carnival,
go to a
a
carnival
little
fete, and I
fete.
could still be a Christian.
I want to appreciate the art.
I go appreciate the art.
Yeah.
I go in there because I like pan. I go in there because I like this bacon shack that is be there. I go in there because of that,
Correct.
And people have all different reasons, for doing it. But I have a firm belief because of where I came from. And at the same time, I understand where they're at. So it is a very...
But do you think your heart could be in the right place and you still have a desire for the things of the world?
No.
Namely carnival. Let's be very specific. Like,
Right.
all right, I'm a Christian, I love the Lord, but I'm feeling to go a little fat because I like the food, the all-inclusive vibes,
I like the dressing up.
I like the
dressing
I like the
up.
vibe,
Yeah.
the time with friends. Or
Yeah.
Oh, I love the music. That's another
True.
aspect
Yeah.
of it. I ain't drinking. I ain't
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
them. I'm not doing that. Just going to, enjoy myself.
I guess that's what he talking about, the questions to ask.
Yeah. So I think with that, right? It all comes down to knowing what you were born for,
Okay.
knowing your purpose. And sometimes, as a Christian, we get so caught up in just the activities of Christian stuff, like church.
Right.
Right? Now, I ain't talking bad about church. I just mean that we get so consumed by church, we forget that we have to live the life of being a Christian outside of the Sunday
Like you say,
services. Yeah.
we think going to a service makes us a Christian.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So when in reality, it is a heart issue
Yeah.
and it's a relational issue with Christ. And that is the foundation. And if that foundation is not there, you find out that believers will look at things. For instance, they will say, I want to go and experience a faith.
Yeah.
You grew up in church, but you want to go and experience, just for the experience.
Yeah.
Right? And out of that experience, two things can happen. You can either go out there and realize that, here, what, this is not for me. There will be some point in time where you will feel like, hey, this is not for me. If there's a genuine, if there's a
If
genuine,
that,
if the heart is there. And then for some other people, like, yeah, this is exactly what I was looking for all the time. I know people who are like that. Our friend, he grew up in church, playing music, really good musician, real nice guy, real focus on God. And one year he was like, hey, bro, I'm calling you because I'm going to play with the soca band. And I was like, you serious, boy? He's like, yeah. I said, bro.
What was his reason though?
He wanted to go and experience it.
Same thing. Wow.
For the experience. Just for the experience.
Innocent.
Innocent, just for the
Just for the
experience.
experience.
Yeah?
Still playing soca right now.
Nah, he comes straight back.
Serious?
Full-fledged interest.
Serious?
Straight
Wow.
back.
Well, that's good.
I'm glad.
Yeah, it was a good story. I thought it was really the other way.
Nah, he comes straight back.
And what was his feedback on that? Like,
He was seriously convicted over there. Because one of the things he said he remembered when he was playing in church, people were so caught up in worship and so passionate about that worship.
right.
And he knew that lives were changed
Yeah.
because of the worship.
Yeah.
And then when he went out there, he saw people lifting up their hands and waving. And he said, what? Who are they really waving to?
It's
What are they waving for?
Worship too.
Yeah, he was like, And then he felt like he was adding to it.
Wow.
And he just walked out of the band and he said, nah.
So let me ask something. One thing you touched on, you said, it's something to settle in your heart, right? Outside are just simply four walls of church. But you use that word, you said purpose.
Yeah.
You have to know what your purpose is.
Yeah.
If you could briefly describe
Yeah.
what was your purpose, how you discovered that,
Yeah.
to be able to give it that ground and to say, I ain't going
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I could help somebody.
Of course. For me, it was dependent on the presence of God, right? Because what happened is that music is so, for me, music is a language of emotions, right? And because I wanted this change so bad, and I turned to God, I started talk to God through playing music. While I played, I was just talking to God. And I was feeling this really close connection with God while playing.
Right.
And I know that my purpose was to play in that environment where God, His presence would be rich. Whenever I play, God's presence will be rich.
That was your purpose.
That was my purpose. So I know that my purpose, it is for that.
Right.
And also to point people into that direction. Not only just to play to experience that
Just
for
yeah.
myself.
Yeah. But to help lead people
Exactly.
to encounter His presence. And
Exactly. And what happened with that is that 1 Corinthians 3:16 talks about the body is the temple of God. So because the body is the temple, it means that his presence is inside of us. And we move with that.
Yeah.
And because of that, the Lord gave me something called a temple minstrel, which means wherever I go, I carry the presence of God. And any one of us who's a believer should carry the presence of God
We're
wherever
supposed
they
to be
go.
carrying, yeah.
Yeah, supposed to be carrying it. And I think that's what the church is.
Yeah.
The church is us, is we who
Yeah,
carry
yeah.
that out there. So when I got that revelation, I was like, wow.
And so you no longer see music for just being something melodious, but something way more than, way more powerful and impactful than just something that's sung and good. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had my fair share of challenges as a Christian, Sometimes I might get called for some gigs,
right.
and I was like, should I do this gig? I'll ask what type of song it is, and some of the songs were not all Christian songs. But depending on the nature of the gig, I specifically went there because I remember the black mans and them. I was like, you know what? If I go there, I am very sure I will not back down. I will represent the kingdom. And Matthew 6:8 says to seek ye first the kingdom of God. And I think when we put the kingdom first is that we start to see church differently.
Okay.
We start to see we function to the world in terms of we don't love the things in the world, and what that means in terms of world is just the worldly ideal, the worldly views.
Yeah.
But what Christ died for is for the world, which is the people in the world.
People in the world.
People in the world. And in order for us to reach them, we had to be able to be relational with them. We had to be able to understand where they're at, be able to reach them.
And meet them there.
Meet them there.
Yeah.
So I remember last year I got called for a gig, and it wasn't a Christian gig at all. It was an entertainment gig. And I was like, you know what, Lord, what to do with this gig? Should I take it or not? And the Lord said me, yes, go and take it. I took the gig. I went to the rehearsals. It wasn't a hardcore fete thing, right?
Yeah.
It was a nice company dinner thing.
Okay.
I went and I did the gig, and I wasn't convicted or anything, but at the same time, I felt like it wasn't meaningful because I didn't get a chance to really minister to anybody.
Right.
In terms of like the band members or the artists.
Yeah.
They were Christians as well.
Okay.
You know? So, sometimes we just need to understand you see that word secular?
Yeah.
It separates, sacred, secular, right?
Right.
There is a
Line,
separation.
yeah.
And sometimes, we just have to know how not to be judgmental as the church to people out there.
But not be judgmental, but still maintain what the standard is.
Exactly. We have to maintain that standard.
Well, I think you was clear with that in terms of knowing the heart.
Yeah.
If it is, I think that's the key to what you're saying in all of this.
Yeah.
You ought to really be grounded.
Yeah.
I love how you made the decisions based on asking, if this is what God wants you in that space, and you spoke about carrying, that presence.
Yeah.
Lord,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and for plenty of musicians, it is a challenge. I talk to a lot of musicians, church musicians, a lot, and it is a challenge. I have many friends go through that.
Right.
And I would advise them, I'll encourage them. Even the same guy who went out there, I used to call him all the time and ask him, how was the song check?
Yeah.
How things going out there?
Yeah.
And he would say, boy, so and so, so and so. I was like, hey, don't worry.
Yeah, but
I'll
that response, that angle you took may shock some people, because some Christians would expect, I go in a fete. The next call I get, you went the fete, what you do, and that's sort of judgmental way.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. And he himself told me that. He's like, Jay, you was the only person out of everybody who reached out to me and asked me how things going over there.
Yeah.
People just lock him off.
No, but I think that I know that to me is real important. You didn't just abandon him, but at the same time, you was keeping him accountable.
Yeah.
If he didn't have that, maybe it might have been a different story.
True.
Yeah, it would have been a different story.
But so for me, I think it's a real thin line you have to actually really discern between where you stand. Because I think, for me, just my experience, I've seen more Christians, not just musicians alone, but just people on the whole, go out there to enjoy it because of the flesh, the parts that they desire.
Yeah.
And they might disguise it with things like that, but you knew the difference in the person, in that friendship.
Yeah.
You knew this guy, you knew how, dedicated he was in the house of God. But I think the danger for me when I hear stuff like that is, especially what I see more times than not the musicians struggling with playing for the church. Because I see the ways what they learn out there, they bring it to the church.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's no longer a gift to God.
Yeah, exactly.
They want it to be a job.
Yeah.
Yes.
They want it to be a job, yeah. And that's
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That was a whole new world to me when I started our church.
Yeah.
So I see
a
that
job,
impact on the other side of it.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just something we got.
But it comes back again to the whole heart.
It comes back to the heart.
The
Yeah, it
heart,
comes
like
back to the heart, yeah.
what is your why are you doing this?
What's your motivation?
Regardless, even
Yeah.
in the church, why are you doing this? Because you could be
You could be doing it
Doing
in
it-
church for the wrong
Yeah,
reasons.
for the wrong
Exactly.
reasons.
That's where
So
you've been hitting.
You
yeah.
could be very good at it at church. Like you could play very, very good and really good. And then never really touch the heart of God. And God never really touch your heart.
a whole different
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
it's a real thing. Our worship team had a retreat over the weekend there. And the topic was the heart of God.
Right.
Because, the Bible said that these people honor me with their lips.
But the
Yeah.
heart's
But the
far
heart is
from
far
me.
from me. And we realize that worship is a heart issue more than a music issue.
yeah.
And it's the way that we live. And it's like, I knew from the time God touched my life that I knew I was supposed to play a part in some kind of transformation going on in Trinidad when it comes to Carnival.
Yeah.
I knew that. So I know what I am called for.
Yeah.
So I know my calling.
Being saved out of that
Being saved
world.
out there, yeah.
You actually have a call to go back
To
into
go
that
yeah,
space.
exactly, yeah.
So it's not like the average person who just want to go and experiment with it.
Yeah. I
But
was
you,
not
you,
calling.
you have a purpose.
That's what.
You
Yeah.
have a purpose
The
there.
purpose, and
Yeah.
no, and that's why your experience was what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you didn't have it like knowing church or anything. It was just you full in there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and God actually saving you out.
And watch my, some that people kind of miss, right?
Uh-huh.
For me, it is real in terms of God provides and take care of who He calls.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we think that we have to go there to make money,
To make the money, to make a living,
to make a living.
to make a living. I
Right?
hear that. Yeah.
But God will take care of you when you put your foot down for Him.
Yeah.
I for sure, I
I mean, you've walked that.
That,
Yeah.
For
man.
some perspective, right? Yeah, he lived the life, but that was also your job.
was my job.
That was your bread and butter.
Bread and butter, right? You,
You
and
walked
gave
away.
that up.
I walked
Yeah.
away from it straight away, and from the time I walked away from it, I started getting all the calls for the bigger gigs.
Wow.
Yeah,
Test that walk away.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you, the bigger gigs. And one of the questions one of the person asked me, it's like, "What car are you driving?" It's like, "I don't have a car yet." It's like, "You have a car yet, boy? Bishop boy? Yeah, what? You come and you play for we? We know somebody in so and so bank. You will get to pay back for your car there. You will get a car. You organize that fair."
And the thing songing real
So I was like,
nice.
You sure that wasn't good?
right? No, but that's
we would
that's
say
what,
that, right?
Yeah, that's
we
what.
would say that.
Watch, that's a real good point.
We would say
Yeah.
that.
We would say that. Yeah.
We would say that.
Because you see, we think about the material things and think, okay, that is God, But really and
That's a
truly,
big one, boy.
Yeah.
Because that's
why-
advancement.
It's
Yeah.
advancement. So we had to
you're
be
going
really
places.
zeroed in.
But more so
Yeah,
if that
you
was
do.
something you're praying for or asking God for.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
We think the
know.
yeses is
Yeah,
automatically
yeah.
God,
So
but it
true.
ain't.
Yeah. And that's
Nah.
why
Wow.
that Matthew 6:33, seek ye first kingdom of God, and all these things will be added unto you. All these things. So I could boast on God here. I could boast the kind of things.
So I was not going to ask
accomplished,
any
no.
regrets, but you answer my question.
Yeah, take front with
I
it.
could boast, man.
What advice you would give for somebody like a young Christian still with a desire, struggling, trying to discern in this world? Like what you've been there, you've been in that world, and then you
Yeah.
came right out. But like you said, you understand them.
Yeah,
so it's
yeah,
not
yeah.
judgment.
No.
Like if you had them right in the room here, what
Yeah.
what kind of conversation you'd have with them?
Yeah, the first thing is what you think is the purpose in this life. All right? And in terms of what you think you was born for. And most of the time people think, well, to have fun, that's one of the first things. And to be successful.
Right.
That's like the main thing, right? To have property, to have this, to have to acquire things.
To be well off, right?
Yeah, to be well off. And I think it's a good thing to be well off. It's a good thing to be to have things. But it's supposed to be coming as a blessing, not just going and seeking it. So I would advise somebody who have these desires is that God knows your heart. God knows what you want. And He would provide things for you And it's either we do it our way or we
Yeah.
do it God's way.
Yeah.
And to know how to do it God's way, we have to know God.
Right.
You know? So I think knowing God is the foundation of that conflict. Knowing God and actually having people around you who would help you. Because there must be some kind of incubation period. Just today I was thinking about it. That if you want to make a decision to live life right, you have to separate yourself
Yeah.
from certain influences. There's no two ways. When I got saved, the area where I used to live, I left there immediately.
Serious.
I left home.
That's big. That's real big.
I move out.
So sometimes you have to
Up to
change
this
your
day.
environment.
Yeah, up to this day, I move out, and that's 20-something years.
Wow.
20 years now, yeah. Move out and I think it's because I didn't want to be around the same thing. I don't want
Yeah.
to be around the bar. I know everybody in the bar.
Because like I said, that was your lifestyle.
That's my lifestyle.
Yeah.
I know everybody there. I know everybody in the area that I was in at some point. I know everybody, all the pool halls, all the bars. I know everybody. I know all the hustlers. I know all the lineman partners, all the smoking partners.
Right.
I know everybody there. And I was like, nah. And I started to live with Isaac and them up there. And, you know, got involved in ministry. And I think that's an important thing. You know, if you're looking for that life of godliness, separate yourself. That's the part that's your decision to make.
That's the external part you're
That's the
talking
external
about.
part. Yeah, you have
You
to
had
play
to
a
take
part.
ownership of that.
Yeah, you have to play a part. Yeah, you had to roll the stone. Christ don't do what he don't do already, but you had to go and roll the stone.
That's real good, you know. But it's not easy.
It's not easy.
But it's
No.
not easy.
Yeah.
That's real good.
I understand the and the good thing about it is that I understand what they go through.
Yeah.
That's why I
Totally
wanted it.
understand.
That's why I
Yeah,
wanted
yeah.
you to you know, just kind of speak to them there. Yeah.
Because that would be the real connect. That's the
Yeah.
connect. I mean, people would have questions. If you have questions, feel free to drop it in the comments. We
Yeah,
will do
for
our
sure.
best to respond. But let's go to our next segment. That's not doctrine. Now, around Christmas, Carnival, we
Christmas
speeding, we speeding.
We
Christmas,
speeding,
you see? Carnival time, around Carnival time, you find a lot of Christians, and we were talking about that, a lot of Christians indulging in Carnival, and they go into it with this perception that God is forgiving, He's loving, He's kind, He's gracious. So after I done balance,
Yeah.
I could come and repent by the altar, or take part in whatever other Christian events that we have, you know.
Yeah.
Say sorry and
I guess it's the mindset. Enjoy
Yeah.
the carnival.
Enjoy the carnival, yeah.
And then we gonna make it right
We
with
gonna make
God.
it right with God,
Just
yeah.
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. So the few days we balance, and on Wednesday we'll see about whatever it is, we'll say sorry for.
We can say our prayer or something.
And that's the cycle every year. So it's more of an act of I'm sorry, remorse, as opposed to repentance. And as Christians, our stance is repentance, which is turning away from a specific lifestyle and not
Yeah.
looking back. So it's not the cycle you're going through
Yeah.
every year. You want to rinse and repeat. You doing the same thing every year,
Yeah,
every
really, yeah.
single year.
It's ritualistic and again, it comes down to the heart. Knowing that willfully doing something that will offend God and then come back to say, I'm sorry. And, you know, it's something that, you know, we as Christians, we have to be very clear in terms of what we do in terms of what we say and that we're sorry for. For instance, the Bible said, don't frustrate the grace of God. It's like you're willfully saying, yeah, what, Lord, I am going to sin.
Because I know you're
Because I
merciful.
know
Yeah.
You're
I'm
loving.
God,
Yeah.
we come back there and we're going to be good. I think that's what religion is. Religion is a practice of things that when you fall from the hands of relationship, you fall into the other hand of religion. Practices.
Well, let me be a little devil's advocate here.
Yeah, man.
The pastor called me the devil's advocate. What about people, because I get what you're saying, but what about people who actually was taught that that's what you could do?
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
for some of them, that's what, and they sincerely believe
Yeah.
that God will act in this way.
Yeah.
So they don't know the truth.
Exactly.
And that's my
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
I think there is I don't think it's everybody just willingly.
No,
You know, I think
It's those
some
that
people-
were
it's very
exposed
yeah,
to.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of sincere. I remember one year, I decided to ask some of my friends who's play mass of the experience after.
Right.
Right? Same situation, right? And of course, they give the situation. Well, they come and they say sorry afterwards. You know, I just say, okay, thanks for the information. That was it. I just wanted to know, right? And I think that is where the we as the church, I would say we as the church,
Right.
that is where we need to do a little bit more work in terms of really reaching out to, in that relational sense to people.
Right.
You know, we need to reach out. You know, we see them like that, but we can't just say, okay, well, yeah, that's wrong, and we leave it like that.
Because we really don't know
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
they're doing it.
Yeah.
They might really believe that's
Exactly.
that's acceptable.
It is the right thing to do for
Well,
them.
well, like I said,
Yeah.
that's what this conversation is hopefully to help with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
open our space for
Open
people
space,
to, yeah.
Yeah, because much more than that. People get to know the beauty of a relationship with Christ.
Right.
You know, it's such an amazing thing. Words can never really express that freedom, because people think that when you're a Christian, you're not like too much of rules.
Yeah.
But there's a freedom that has come from it, you know, and we're free from death and hell, but we're free to do many more things.
Right.
We're free to indulge in things that is
Good.
in the right way. You know, we're free to have fun. We're free to
And Christians do
Enjoy.
have fun.
Yeah.
Like, let's just put that out there. We just
But I
have
got
fun.
something on that one. But
We just have fun. We just laugh. We're not alien.
yeah, it's true, man. Yeah.
we just watch TV, you know.
We just
Yeah.
watch. Not so often, but, you know, sometimes.
Often, you know. Yeah, let's go. But yeah, we normal. We
Yes.
know to enjoy life.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and I think with Christ, we learn to enjoy life in a full way.
In a full way, yeah.
The things He wants us to enjoy, we learn to experience and enjoy it in a whole different way. I think, you know, we talk about that whole, you go enjoy yourself, then you go to repent. And yes, there might be people not knowing, but to me, and I think you could speak into this, I'm sure when you were living in that world, you know, enjoying being a musician, traveling the world and stuff, like you said, you enjoyed it. It was fun.
Yeah.
But I'm sure, like with your walk with God now, the real hard change,
Yeah.
the things you used to enjoy sometimes will fade now.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that we could start showing people that
Yeah.
I know you might think Carnival might be the only thing that you would enjoy
Yeah.
in this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you really give your life to Christ, He starts to open up whole
Yeah.
different ways of enjoying life in
Yeah.
different things.
I just be confused sometimes. I just be like, every year doing the same thing. Where's the fun in that?
Coming from the man who was doing it for so much
And enjoyed it.
and enjoying it, right?
Because where I live in, Brian Lara Stadium, right there.
Yeah.
And as we hearing all
All the
fete going
fans.
on.
All the
And I
fans.
listening to all the artists performing from home. I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, it's the same thing. When I was over there, it's the same thing. I know
And that's a
people-
question
Yeah.
I was talking to my husband Joshua about, and we were like, you're going to see these same artists at 10 different fets performing the same
Same
set.
thing, yeah,
the
yeah.
same set. Like,
Right.
how is that fun? You know, like,
Yeah.
it's there's no dynamic there. I mean,
Again-
I don't know. I'm not talking from experience, so I hear. And I've actually went to a fest.
I think, and what happened is that people, especially those who were probably born in Trinidad or family in Trinidad, when they come back, you know, they have this routine. Like, hey,
Yeah.
when I go back, we have to be paying for all these fets here, and we go
Yeah.
to all these things. And for them, that's what fun is, doing all of these different things.
Nice being Trini too.
Yeah.
Okay, you're talking
That's
about
yeah,
that's being
and
Trini.
just do it. And I was like, no, I looking back and I was like, how is that fun?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Even though it was fun for me, I was like, same thing over and over again. It's a all
But you know, at the time, I guess being in it, you don't really see it. You probably don't see it like that.
Yeah.
But now you've tasted the goodness of the Lord. That's why you have a
Yeah, man.
Samuel Christianese
I'm
there. It
sorry,
tasted like goodness.
It's too easy. I had to.
You had to sign it.
17. I had to 17. You know.
But it's the truth, right?
Yeah.
You've been on both sides, and I'm hoping that this conversation helps show somebody who kind of still in it to see that there's a beautiful life after it. And
And you know, just to add, right? Because I was wanting to have a family and a wife, God gave me the best wife ever. Like, it's just unbelievable.
right.
You know, and I have a son who I really love, and I have a business that going really, really, really good. And I was like, wait now. Do I really deserve so much of blessings from God? Like, so much, like, God, me who was doing all these crazy things, like, why blessing me so much, you know? And one thing I learned is that we just have to always be humble with God, because sometimes we might want to get carried away with things.
It's
And
true.
humility is not just being quiet. Humility is knowing that God is in charge and we're not in charge.
Yeah.
God is in charge. I think that's what humility really is.
Right.
Is that God is in charge. You know, and
In charge of the good and the not so good.
Everything. You know, and I really, really, you know, had a big up God, you know, because without He,
Love it.
I had nothing else. Yeah.
Oh man. Wow.
Come on.
Well, we're all out of time.
I think if we don't start.
I know, right?
It's a great convo, man.
Yes,
Yeah,
it definitely was. I know this would have touched somebody. Again, if you guys have comments, please feel free to reach out. This is a safe space. We don't judge. We don't judge here, right? You can connect with us on TikTok and Instagram. We'll be streaming the podcast on YouTube and Spotify. Any last comments before we wrap?
You want to wrap it up first?
Yeah, I think overall, God is love. Overall, you know, God is love. He doesn't have love. When we think about what we're looking for, it is love.
Right.
And the best way to actually approach love is to approach God. You know, and in spite of what it is we might go through, even as Christians, you know, we go through a lot of trying times and difficult things. You know, we just have to fall back on our foundation that, you know, God is love and He loves us a lot. That He will take care of us and He will, you know, make a way for us. You know, and we have a responsibility as a church to show love to everybody. And the more we show that love is the more we actually be in the church. And you know, some always say that church is not where you go, but it's who you really is. You know, we are the church. Church is alive because of us. Who we are is not this particular organization or that organization or that particular thing.
It's the people.
Church. We are the
People.
church.
Yeah.
The church.
Yeah. Pastor J, any?
Yeah, I mean, I just think the conversation was really edifying. So grateful for you taking the time to just share, not just wisdom, but just your heart for it. And I heard what I really loved tonight was just hearing your heart for people in that place.
Yeah.
And I hope our audience that they really receive that love, know that this was done for them.
Yeah.
Those who struggling especially. This is not to look down on you or, you know, just put any pressure on you. It's just to create that space. I could find some answers. So I love it.
Yes. So thank you so much for joining us. This has been Hope Unfiltered. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Take care.